In Deuteronomy, the 31st chapter in verse 8, we read these words. It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not fear, or be dismayed. Moses spoke these words to Joshua just before he was going to lead the children of Israel across the Jordan River into the land that had been promised to them. Just a few verses earlier, God had spoken these same words through Moses to the entire people of Israel. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be in dread of them, meaning the people who were living in that land. For it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. It was a very uncertain and apprehensive time for the people of Israel. They knew and they had heard the stories of the inhabitants of the land, that there were giants there. They had heard the stories of the fortified cities. They could not know the outcome of what was going to happen when they crossed the river. They had not seen these things personally, but they had heard of them from their ancestors. They had actually seen them, so they were understandably frightened. Their situation was perilous, to be sure. It was their generation's turn to decide whether God would deliver them as He had promised. And we need to be reminded that every generation must decide for themselves, is God trustworthy? Can we depend upon Him? We're without a doubt living in very uncertain times right now. Our day is full of fear and apprehension on many counts. I heard a pastor recently say that we're actually dealing with two pandemics right now. We're dealing with a viral pandemic that we're all very much aware of, but we're also dealing with a social pandemic. And that is, there's just such a pandemic of fear in our culture today that has just kind of gripped our society, and everyone is taken with it. So what do we take from the promise of Deuteronomy chapter 31? We hear in Moses' words, hope. We hear in his words, confidence. We must ask ourselves, where did that hope and confidence come from? It's certainly not based on Moses' own strength or his own emotional character, but it is solely based on his experience of seeing God at work in his life, all through his life. Moses had seen and had experienced many frightful situations. We can remember his deliverance as an infant from Pharaoh's edict. He was exiled as a young man after he had murdered an Egyptian person, going back to Pharaoh and saying, let my people go. His leading the people of Israel on the Exodus through the desert. All of these things caused Moses to have to depend solely on God. And so Moses could make this statement in Exodus 31, not based on his own emotion, not based on wishful thinking, but based on his experience and his knowledge of the character of God. It was God Himself who would go before them to guide them. He would go alongside them into battle, and He would be behind them to protect them. We can base our hope and confidence today in God's character and His unchanging promises also. He will guide us and He will protect us as we navigate the days ahead. Remember this, we can rest in the unchanging character of God in the midst of ever-changing circumstances. He is well aware of what has happened, what is happening, and what is to come. Years later, the writer of Hebrews would echo this same confidence. For he has said, God said this, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So we can confidently say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear. So if we can be of service to you or your family, please reach out to us. If there's something that we can pray with you about, please let us know. You can reach out to us at our website, www.ccbchurch.org. We'd love to be able to serve you in that way. So until next time, God bless you and your family. Stay safe.